Fortunately, I was standing side by side with them to see what the winner. And they went ahead and they said that. So, second sir. It's indeed a great honor to stand beside legal legends, legal luminary, the legal octopus, the legal hippopotamus. I hope my voice will not crack as I've been given this very privilege to read his abridged profile. So please stay with me. I present to you Royal Multiple High Chief Mike Ozekhome. He's a renowned Nigerian constitutional lawyer, a human rights advocate, and a senior advocate of Nigeria. May I also add that he's also a senior advocate of the masses. Early life and education. He was born on the 15th of October 1957 at Ibiukwe, Akinkunle, Ondo State. Among many schools he attended, he graduated with a Bachelor of Law degree in 1980 at the prestigious Ozekhome University. He went ahead to obtain LLM at the law school, and also went back for masters at the Ozekhome University again. His career started as a newspaper in Yola and later worked at the Federal Ministry of Justice. He joined the chambers of Gani Faridi, rising to become the deputy head of chambers by 1985. He founded Mike Ozekhome's Chambers in 1986, a multi-law firm with branches in Lagos, Abuja, Benin City, and Abuja. He was conferred with the prestigious Senior Advocate of Nigeria in 2009. He also serves as a counsel at the International Criminal Court in the Hague. Notable cases and achievements. I'm sure if we start reading them, we'll probably not be here today. But we'll just have a few. He handled high-profile cases, the oil subsidy cases, and the Umana case. He co-founded the Civil Liberties Organization of Nigeria, Nigeria's first human rights organization. He participated in the national reform effort, which I see we are winning again. I begin to see some of the videos and the news items. We are winning that struggle and that movement, including the Nigerian National Conference of 2005, the Nigerian National Conference of 2009, and the most recent Nigerian National Conference of 2014 under President Goodluck Jonathan. Awards and recognition. Professor Mike Ozekhome has received over 400 awards and honors, locally and globally. I'll take that today. He has received over 400 awards, honors, and recognitions, locally and globally. That's no mean feat. He's the International Ambassador of Peace and Global Peace-loving Citizen of the world. Hence, we also call him Ambassador. He's a honorary citizen and recipient of the keys to the city of Atlanta in the United States of America. He's a fellow of several prestigious organizations, including the Chartered Institute of Arbitration and the Nigerian Institute of Management. He's not just a senior advocate of Nigeria, he's also a management body. married to his lovely wife, Mrs. Josephine Ozekhome, who is also a lawyer and a gender crusader in Nigeria and the world. He's blessed with children. He enjoys reading, writing, sports, music, and philanthropy. I will also say one thing he enjoys, even though he's not written in the book. He enjoys cracking jokes, and one of his popular jokes is, okay, now, I will say it. Please, I present to you multiple royal IT Professor Mike Abu Agbedo Ozekhome. SOCIO.
Thank you very much, and I thank you for helping to appreciate the call by citation. I think last week when I was after the bar conference, I delivered the late Justice August lecture. And when I saw the program, I saw that my citation covered 4 pages. I called the NC and I said, I beg of you, I'm not the object or the subject matter. I'm going to talk about the person. If you now go to the also 4 pages, then when I be a video, you will make it. Story of a man who was a property director. When he came to he started speaking. The crowd started digging down on the Lord. 150, 100, 80, 70, 50, 60, 40, 30, 20, Usai, Opasi, or men, or vibrate, 15, 5. He was still delivering his lecture. 3, 2, was our hard work. The family won't end in the audience. So when he finished, he said, I want to move for your question. You listen to me. Well, sir, I am the security. So I want to thank WEPPA WANNO, Pyramid Club of Nigeria, a great club that has nurtured and nurtured many WEPPA WANNO sons in their various angles. A club that has been always standing for the people. A very, very people club that has snatched from the furnace of fire many people who would otherwise have been burnt. A club that has mentored several young WEPPA WANNO sons from their very tender ages to their gargantuan statuses today. This is a club that I think deserves a great applause. I want to thank my brothers who are up here. I recognize all of you, whether I mention you or not. Thank you, the President, the Judge, and the past presidents who are here as a matter of fact, meeting the water engineer, I call him. I am to speak What I did was to go into deep research to factor out not just the rules, but the problems and how to better the system of social engineering in our communities. They are usually clubs that are characterized by voluntary membership of shared interests representing the component of the civil society. They foster cohesion. They contribute to the maintenance of sustainable peace within communities. I didn't mention ESL of the Black Kingdom. Tell you, a renowned engineer at Prof. They provide platforms for individuals to connect, collaborate, and address common challenges, thereby strengthening the social fabric and promoting a sense of collective identity. By examining the multifaceted roles of social clubs, my paper intends to explore how these organizations function, their origin, how they help in addressing societal problems that are at once sentimental and centrifugal, by becoming building blocks for peaceful and resilient communities, particularly in the face of adversity and social fragmentation. I am saying that social clubs contribute to the establishment of a resilient social contract defined as a dynamic agreement between the state and society on how to coexist. The social contract theory, propounded by great philosophers of law, people like Prof, who believe that the society was like an animal kingdom, where life was short, nasty, lonely, and brutish. That there was a need to have a social contract between we animals and those who are in government to protect us and prevent us from killing ourselves. Of course, that was taken on by John Locke and also by Rousseau. So, according to the Core Institute for International Peace Studies, peace building is the development of constructive personal and political relationships across ethnic, religious, class, national, and racial boundaries. Strategic peace building, therefore, emphasizes not just stopping violence, but transforming the underlying social, economic, and institutional structures that fuel conflict. The United Nations defines peace building as inclusive effort aimed at preventing outbreak, escalation, continuation, and recurrence of conflict. Now, Pablo Spinoza made it clear that this is not just about the absence of war or absence of conflict. This is more than that. It is a positive presence of justice, understanding, compassion, empathy, and freedom.
was NH Chief M2 Abdullah when he was being advised to relinquish his mandate after Nigerians had voted him massively, and that shouldn't worry about him, so that they will be case. And because he asked them, you was his time, you people continue to tell me that we should allow peace to reign. What type of peace we talking about? The graveyard of symmetry is the most peaceful place on earth. But that is not the kind of peace we are looking for. The peace we want is peace that is built with social justice, egalitarianism, mutual respect, religious and ethnic tolerance. That's what children got, and we got it. So what we do is peace without social justice. It will be peace of the graveyard, or peace of the cemetery. Now, the functions of social club, according to Al and Crocker, 2019, they are rooted in their ability to address several key drivers of conflict and instability within communities. Social clubs, by their very nature, promote inclusivity and social interaction among diverse groups, helping to break down social barriers and reduce prejudice. All and Crocker said this in 2019. These strategies are essential for sustainable peace as they focus on relational ethics and egalitarian community building, rather than relying solely on top-down micro-level development initiatives. How did social clubs start? As voluntary associations formed by individuals who come together based on shared interests, values, professions, cultures, or social objectives, like you are all here. You have shared, common shared interests. You have your social values. You have your professions. You have your cultures. Then you have your social objectives. And you have decided to come together towards attaining certain goals, certain objects in your statement, in your mission statement, and in your vision statement. Now, in the historical origins of social club, before I go there, let me mention some examples of clubs that we regard as social clubs. They could be social cultural, social economic, social political. Examples are Ozekhome Club, WEPPA Club, Nigeria, INSECURITY Club, Incorporated, INSECURITY Club, 81, INSECURITY Club of Nigeria, African Way Forward, African World Congress, INAC Social Club, African Dynamic Club, WEPPA Progressive Union, Destiny Club of Nigeria, African Union, African Development Initiative, African Social Club, Digital Youth Club, Asama Social Club, WEPPA WANNO, Ozekhome Social Club, WEPPA WANNO, and more. If I do not call any other club that I belong to, please forgive me. I don't think my research should over 150 clubs. Rome actually started social clubs. They had big life society and philosophical gatherings where citizens met frequently to interact and engage in intellectual discourse. During the 18th and 19th century, here's one more the rise of gentlemen's club in Britain and Salon's club in France. They provided the help with spaces for political and philosophical discussion. In pre-colonial Africa, communal organizations emerged, such as age-based secret societies, e.g., WEPPA WANNO, women's cooperative societies, even our own WEPPA WANNO social groups like OTU, ADISU, OP, and we, Yakwede, and the rest. These are examples, and this is how they started. With the Industrial Revolution and urbanization, social clubs became increasingly popular across Europe and America as a means of fostering identity, welfare, and mutual aid amongst workers, immigrants, and professional groups. Modern evolution now extended the role of social clubs and their presence across the world. Particularly in the 20th and 21st century, social clubs have diversified dramatically. We now include civic clubs such as Rotary, Lions, Kiwanis, etc., which focus on community service and philanthropy. There are cultural ethnic clubs formed by diaspora communities to preserve language and their culture and heritage back home. There are youth clubs like Boy Scouts, Girls Brigade, Animal Bay Club, and school-based clubs that promote leadership and development of the youth. We have professional or trade clubs such as Nigerian Bar Association, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Nigerian Institute of Chartered Accountants, and the rest. We have religious spiritual clubs which organize faith-based service or fellowship activities. We have recreational sports clubs promoting leisure, fitness, and socialization. Today, social clubs therefore operate in both formal and informal settings, from registered NGOs and community centers to street-level youth groups and virtual online communities. Functions of this social club very briefly: socialization, providing a sense of belonging, friendship, shared identity, mutual aid, offering welfare support in the form of loans, employment, connections, assistance, joining development of crisis, civic engagement, educating members about social issues, promoting volunteerism, and encouraging democratic participation, conflict resolution, acting as mediator or dialogue partners in communities that face tensions and crises, cultural preservation, maintaining traditions, languages, and values within multicultural society. Now, the concept of sustainable peace, therefore, refers to a state of lasting harmony and stability within societies where conflicts are resolved or managed effectively. Unlike short-term peace agreements that temporarily halt hostilities, sustainable peace embodies a deep-rooted, comprehensive process that addresses underlying socio-economic, political, and cultural factors. So achieving sustainable peace is therefore very critical for long-term development, social stability, and global security. It enables societies to recover from conflicts, build resilient communities, and create environments where individuals can thrive free from fear and violence. We look at the theoretical framework of social growth. There's one foundational theory which is called social identity theory. This was proposed by Henry Tajford and John Turner. It explains how individuals derive self-esteem. Get this one clear. Individuals derive self-esteem and a sense of belonging to membership in social clubs. So it is social clubs that foster this identity formation in ways that can deepen social cohesion and reinforce division. However, when structured to include diverse membership, they foster positive group identity, rooted in cooperation, shared values, and common goals, which significantly reduce prejudice, stereotyping, and other illnesses of the society. But Mr. Concord had his own theory according to the contact hypothesis. He said that sustained equal status interactions, sustained equal status interactions between members of different groups can reduce intergroup prejudice. Social clubs, therefore, particularly those that span ethnic, religious, or political boundaries, act as real-life laboratories for testing this theory. When properly managed, these laws promote empathy and understanding among members who might otherwise remain socially segregated. The contract facilitated true trust and dissolved suspicion, which are key prerequisites for gaining sustainable peace. There is another theory by John Burton, which is called the human needs theory. What does that mean? He said, according to this theory, conflict arises when fundamental human needs such as identity, recognition, participation, and security are unmet. Social clubs often cater precisely for these needs by providing a platform for expression, leadership, support, and social recognition, particularly for marginalized populations such as youth, women, and ethnic minorities. Collectively, therefore, these theories reveal that social clubs do more than just offer socialization or recreation. They actually serve as microstructures of peace, fostering psychological resilience and social integration and non-violent identities that contribute to the greater architecture of sustainable peace. Now, I give you a little bit of global case studies of social clubs in action. In Kenya, for example, in the aftermath of the 2007 to 2008 post-election violence, these clubs, youth-based, started springing up. These clubs are across volatile regions such as Kisumu and Eldoret, supported by NGOs and international donors. These young people engage in these dialogues, cultural exchanges, and neighborhood cleanup campaigns, all of which serve to bridge ethnic divide. They organize soccer tournaments and theater performances as vehicles of reconciliation, bringing together the Kikuyu youth who had once seen each other as enemies. In Northern Ireland, there has always been this bridge, this divide between Catholics and Protestants. So the Gaelic Athletic Association was always traditionally associated with Catholic identity, but efforts in recent decades have aimed to open participation to all the communities without segregation. In Colombia, particularly in post-FARC territories, women's peace circles have acted as both support groups and civil society actors. Women, often the most affected by decades of long-armed conflicts, decided to form clubs to deal with trauma, organize microfinance projects, and participate in transitional justice processes. Each of these cases placed emphasis on localized power of social clubs in peace building, whether it is through sports or arts or economic collaboration. These clubs create neutral spaces for them. The same thing happened in Southeast Asia, the same thing in Rwanda after the Great War of the 90s. I was in Rwanda with my wife about 3-4 years ago, and there was this young lady who took us round on the sightseeing. So I now asked her, where are you from? Are you a Tutsi? I asked her that person deliberately. She said, no, sir. And other, they put you know a Tutsi. Now, we want you. Okay. I said, I know. Which side of Rwanda do you come from? She said, the truth is that, sir, I come from one place in Rwanda. That place is Rwanda. They be so taught about this reconciliation that they have virtually forgotten their ethnic identities. I'm not saying we should do that. I've always argued against subjugation of one's identity. I don't want anybody not to see me as a WEPPA WANNO son, to begin to see me as an Igbo or Yoruba or Hausa or Nupe or Fulani or Idu son. I will not like that. We call it unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. I was why in 1949, Zeke, Asadama, Sokoto, Ahmadu Bello were discussing. And Zeke said, Sadama, we have to try and forget our differences. So Sadama answered, no, Zeke, you are called Zeke of Africa because of your global recognition. We cannot forget our differences. You are an Eastern, an Igbo, and a Christian. I'm a Northerner, a Fulani, and a Muslim. So we already have these differences. It is by recognizing them that we can use them to have building blocks as our strength, not by forgetting them. So I would prefer us having that unity in diversity, that we are one, even though we may be different, tribally, sectionally, religiously, and linguistically. The digital evolution of social clubs and virtual business has again made the world a global village. By worldometer, Nigeria as today, Saturday is the 5th, Saturday the 6th of September 2025. By worldometer, Nigeria's population today is 238.4 million people. 238.4 million people as of today. And guess what? Nigeria has the youngest youth population in the whole world. 70% of Nigeria's youth population is people who are over 30 years of age. Over 30 years, I mean, below 30 years of age, constitute over 70% of Nigeria's population. Then, about 42% of Nigeria's population are people under 15 years, while the median age now is 18 years. So, the greatest strength of Nigeria today, the greatest human capital lies in our youthful population. I think we should clap for Nigeria for that. So these youths have taken this role, you know what we are doing here, that we pyramid must meet biannually, that UZANU club must meet annually. We want to see each other face to face. That's fine. But there's nothing still like when you see your brother face to face and you feel him and you hear him and you see him. But the youth also now have so many clubs that they have founded through various social media groups. Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, Pinterest, Telegram, WeChat, QQ, Threads, MySpace, Sky, Messenger, Twitch, Doreen, Quora, Mastodon, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Bigo Video. There are so many. Many of the youth here, some of you here may even look reporter for this one. I think apart from Facebook, WhatsApp, idea of Instagram and LinkedIn and Snapchat, TikTok. These are the top three of what I know. I know many of you youth here, some of you participate in all these things. So this is not therefore about the era of digital disclosure, like those now being premiered in Nigeria. And they are good in removing hate speech, misinformation, disinformation, and extremist recruitment by fact-checking matters before they are posted. And veteran social clubs also have become avenues for diaspora engagement, allowing members of conflict-affected communities living abroad to stay connected, to fundraise, to influence, to reconcile back home quarrels that their families are having. Partnership between social clubs and formal institutions. There's a need for social clubs to begin to partner with formal institutions. Municipal partnerships, for example, have taken places like in Brazil. In the favelas of Rio de Janeiro neighborhood, clubs have been given small grants and the authority to design safety measures in partnership. Faith-based institutions also play a role in multi-religious countries like Nigeria and Indonesia. Interfaith clubs are partnered with local mosques, churches, and temples to organize festivals, cultural exchanges, and service projects. These activities not only reduce religious intolerance, but also create shared moral frameworks, enhancing the ethical foundation of peace-building at community levels. So the unique roles of social club, therefore, include fostering social cohesion and belonging, empowering communities, promoting dialogue and conflict resolution, building social capital, which underpins peaceful communities, is strengthening these networks by fostering reciprocity and shared values. High social capital is linked to lower crime rates and greater civic participation and enhanced community well-being and development. It's of primary purpose. So the positive contributions, therefore, of social clubs can be found in one, their social capital and interpersonal trust, the network of relationships among individuals that enable them to have collective action through shared interests, sports, cultural activities, professional growth. You come together like one family, having empathy for one another, not just sympathy. And by the way, the difference between empathy and sympathy is that sympathy is to be sorry for one's pain. Maybe somebody that just had an issue, he fell into the well, look at the person and say, oh my God, I'm so sorry about this. But sympathizing with the person shows that you are touched. But empathy goes beyond that. You see the person who has fallen into the well, you won't just look at him and say, oh, I'm so sorry about this. What do? You look for a rope and throw into the well to help out that person who are falling in there. That is empathy. You feel the pains. You want to help solve the pains and remove the person from the pains. This is what social clubs also do for all of us. Now, they also help us to have inclusion and identity reformation, especially for marginalized groups like youth, women, the physically challenged, and the most vulnerable groups, and also make sure that they do not go into radicalization and civil unrest. They help in civic engagement and participatory democracy, thus acting as incubators, nurturing grassroots leadership and democratic values. In the UK, for example, the Cooperative Party has stressed how rebuilding social clubs boosts community empowerment by giving people agency and voice in local decision making. They help in economic, that's number 4, economic building and skills development. Social clubs, especially cooperatives, vocational groups, or trade unions support economic empowerment. The International Labour Organization identifies decent work as a stabilizing force that reduces crime, migration, and insurgency. Now, clubs that offer skills training, microcredit access, entrepreneurial mentoring address the economic roots of unrest, particularly from the region, thus bringing a post-state or sustainable peace. There are 7 C's of peace building and social growth that we must all recognize. The first C is connection, close creating interpersonal ties between individuals of different faiths, tribes, or backgrounds. Like here now, are people of different faiths. Christians, Muslims, Baha'i, and the rest, even Hinduism or Shintoism or traditional religion. You don't care, because certain other things bind you together, which is your tribe, where you come from. Social clubs encourage dialogue over confrontation. The third C is compassion. Social clubs support empathy through volunteerism and outreach. The fourth one is commitment. Regular participation reinforces a commitment to peace. The fifth one is competence. Clubs often provide training and certification after education. The sixth C is contribution. They empower individuals to actively give back to society what they have collected. And the seventh C is character. They help build character. And this is very important for all these C's. If you ask me, the most important of the C is character. And when you have character, you have everything. That was why Billy Graham once told us, when wealth is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. But when character is lost, everything is lost. Which means once you have character, then you have every other thing. It's like in the Bible, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and every other thing will be added. So, how do we now maximize the productive potentials of social growth? I suggest the following: institutional support and recognition of NGOs, social groups like WEPPA WANNO of Nigeria. They need institutional support by the government, local, state, and federal to enable them to achieve their optimum. Capacity building and leadership training, they should be supported with this: conflict resolution and mediation, organizational leadership, inclusive governance, and gender sensitivity, infrastructure and funding. Social growth needs safe venues, digital tools, and operational funds to operate effectively. D, youth inclusion. Social growth must include incorporating into club leadership and activities. I'm happy looking around at the pyramid. When you come to a club and you can recognize even up to half of the membership, then you know that that club is growing. I came today, apart from the old faces I know, every other person I will say, oh yeah, I say, how we get, how we can. So you will 158 members. The median age, if you check it, average age, you are going to see that you are doing great. Just as MSc and Master of Science who have never still decided to have a PhD. As president of UZANU Club, I have been able to lower the average age, which used to be 60-something, 50-something. It's now just about 40 or maybe even 38 in less than 2 years. Because when I attended UZANU function now, I can tell you this and you can take it to the back. I don't recognize the water of the members of that club. That is how pyramid is. Now, what are the critical limitations and challenges for social growth that made them not to perform optimally? Exclusion and homogeneity. Let's discuss this a little. Many clubs like this pyramid, are homogeneous by design, based on shared religion, class, profession, or ethnicity. Yes, this may foster binding or body social capital, but it can also reinforce group-based exclusivity and tribalism. For example, in regions where clubs are aligned with ethno-political blocks or religions, they may perpetuate identity divides instead of healing them. It's like this. This is WEPPA WANNO Pyramid Club, Nigeria. For someone to join, he must have certain qualities. And I believe that one of those qualities is that he must give up the WEPPA WANNO and the Umeme ownership pedigree. Am I right? That is just like UZANU also. Yeah, but the problem that may also generate is that it leads to exclusivity by ignoring others who may be interested in also joining. We have seen that problem again and again in UZANU. People who are not from WEPPA WANNO wanting to join. Because of that, we have to now try in amending the constitution to say, well, if you are not from WEPPA WANNO by origin. If your mother ever came from there, or you have lived in WEPPA WANNO for such a long time, and you have maybe married there and no way, why no way, it means you have acculturated, you have acculturized, you have acclimatized, you have decided, I see myself as our WEPPA WANNO son. In such a case, you should be given membership. So in order to avoid this segregation as it might seem, social clubs will begin to consider how do we bring people, for example, if it's an Asian person that we feel has something to contribute. This pyramid, how can we accommodate it? What are the pluses and minuses, advantages and disadvantages? Because if you bring an Asian man, it means that when one of you is marrying or doing the burial activities of the parent, it means the same way we go from Imikwe to WEPPA, to UZANU, to Ageri, to Egonabel. It means you should also be ready to go to ECOMA, Ewu, Urumi, Ewu, and the rest. So those are some of the things that clubs look at in deciding to limit what they want and who they want. Lack of strategic direction. Like NGOs or building agencies that are fully registered, and most social clubs lack formal training, strategic frameworks, or measurable peace goals. As a result, their impact is often fragmented, reactive, and unsustainable. And that is why many clubs normally come and go. They die off. There must be certain things you have to do to sustain your club, to sustain your goals. One of which, for example, is this biannual retreat, where all of you seek to meet. And what does it do? Beyond meeting and talking, it enables people to fraternize. I'm sure many of you have not seen each other after the last retreat you had. You are just seeing each other again for the first time. So it leads to bonding. The fact that I, Yasaba, will work in the best suit of people who work with you now. Because at the end of the day, I will make one. Then I don't die bullshit. I don't die bad. The truth is that I know is a God. I will make one. Is that not correct? What I can do the now? Or not for you watch you or not this time now. Or your channel. Or not go. Or book or park or local. Or mission to respond. Almost like a local. Instead of going to jail with other people, or quick or making time here on it, or yet now you go out of Manamoko. It's after women. Make a Kamanoka or get to or decide to wear beer like Boko Haram. He wants to have his own signature. What are we doing? So we I can name my part as my signature. It is my personal. It is the way I want to appear. It's not because I can't appear in white appear. I did it in 2016, 2017. I discovered that was not what I like. There are certain ways you want your appearance to be. And many young people were seeing me and challenging me, sir. Why are you wearing a white beard? I said, what's wrong with that? They said, no, sir, we prefer you the way you used to look. So everyone wants to have that personal identity, your personal, how you appear to the public, how you look. Is that not correct? Because you are against the way you are. are dressed. You are addressed the way you are dressed. I just want to talk about this issue. Vulnerability to political capture. Social laws can easily be manipulated because they are malleable. Some powerful people in the club can decide to gradually direct the club to support certain political idiosyncratic leanings, which will not be easy to other members of the club. Resource dependency and burnout. Because most community social clubs are volunteerism based and they are informal structures, they soon get burnt out in terms of donations coming in. When you overtask yourself, and it happens in every, there are many of you here who are not able to pay certain levies because I can only let the levy, another walkway, or then annual dues of value, the insurance of law, medical bills of law, then other donate. Working like a canoe about it, 1 million. Dr. Lugo will say, how many key pharmaceutical cover from America, pharmaceutical user? The big ARC canoe no donate 1 million. Tiki a pipe, where we back on warrior in your top track to Ghana, or you only 2 million. Then I think I'm okay. Be yourself. Okay. I think it has been told that woman, I'm a pass right here. Then I think I'm not to say, oh, remember that to do my network for 1.5 Kennedy, 1 million. Then I think it's said, if you my body, what you get 2 million. Meanwhile, I can't even know you. Hey, you side. I don't have to go with it. I gave a damn against to say, oh, more like you outside. You are again, man, they became a yoga, man, I said, you or 2 of you are like, oh, no, yeah, they got to pass it. I mean, 1 million, 1 million. What of MSI? I 1.5. You do, I mean, 2 million. You, I think I'm 2.5. I think, you know, I'm going to go. If I take your name, as I say, probably, which I'm very good at helping clubs to raise funds. When I handle the microphone, what I don't know, by the time I go into your pocket, you must bring out money. But the flip side is that in that volunteerism or donations, you may end up going beyond your strength. So when you go ahead, whereas in the club constitution, many of them, there are certain amounts of sums you will owe, and they will say you are not a serious member, which is not the case. You are very serious, but open schedule. Those are prepared to hear. Can you walk with a government like, yeah, pass on the time? Okay, Adoge, Adoge, you know, not Shakunuli. You don't Shakunuli, or people are getting. We will get it. What you want to achieve? What happened? Who will come and be I need to get a body. I need to get a body now. Where now? Oh, you do. I think police are coming. We call to take to us is so much. So the one of the ways to help by way of recommendation now, as I round up, is to institutionalize social clubs within national peace strategies. This involves granting them legal recognition, included in policy design, and providing access to technical and financial support. As this paper has tried to emphasize, social clubs operate at the grassroots level, where many formal institutions struggle to reach by embedding them into peace architecture. Governments can mobilize a powerful, decentralized peacekeeping infrastructure. And we have seen the role social clubs are playing, like this Pyramid Club, UZANU Club, Way Forward, and nothing near Montoma. Always all collective gone in to settle this crisis. At times, I also agree with this group of highly organized and people in the society who begin to matter. People will begin to matter. So we have done very well. Then we must adopt the 7 C's, which I mentioned earlier: connection, communication, compassion, commitment, competence, contribution, and character, which I said is the most important. Then we must expand capacity building, and this is very important, so as to have inclusive leadership by involving to community micro leaders. To do so, members must be trained in conflict resolution, trauma healing, civic leadership, and gender-sensitive governance. This strengthens the club's ability to act as mediators, educators, and peace agents. This program knows that without such strategic direction, clubs risk remaining ordinary recreational and not transformative agents. Like I said in my MBA paper article last week, a lot of people have insecurity and they are sick. The insecurity is not just the insecurity we always look at. It's just the personal insecurity or what is personal to that. WEPPA, that's the insecurity we always talk about. But there are more serious insecurity challenges that many of us have. One of the most traumatizing is what we call emotional insecurity. If, for example, you have a wife who is tormenting you at home, or you have a sick mother who is making all your bills in your purse, or you have an estranged wife who, rather than leave you alone, or without your neighbors are talking, continues to recall again and again, or are tormented. You may think it's well, it's heavy, but it's traumatized emotionally, mentally, psychologically, psychically, beyond physically. We also have it that a lot of us will be having economic and financial insecurity. For us to come all the way to Asaba, all fingers are not equal. Some of you may have flown here in business class. Some may have joined ordinary motor park vehicle to be here. That is not a problem. But the truth is, such people suffer from financial, economic insecurity, which is why many of us as members will begin to also help the other members by helping them to lift them up, by giving them financial support. Because they are the member. Then we have to leverage on digital platforms, which I mentioned earlier. We must invest in club infrastructure and sustainable funding. These pyramid are done very well. See your beautiful infrastructure back home. I know they are operated to make a lot of grants to indigent people, maybe in sports development, giving scholarship to indigent or brilliant students, and generally helping to uplift this society for the doldrums. We must really engage in youth through meaningful participation and leadership, the young men to goodness. Try to bring them up, offer them programs, nurture them, mentor them. We must create monitoring and evaluation systems for peace outcomes, M&F, M&E. How do we monitor, how do we evaluate where we think that there are good groups to settle what we call anti-group participation, reduction in parallel civic engagement, and inclusion of marginalized people. We must learn how to foster multi-stakeholder partnerships by teaming up with NGOs and other government organizations to perform better. We must reform club structures to engage through inclusivity. So I conclude this my paper by saying that social clubs, while often perceived as mere recreational or auxiliary institutions, hold transformative potential in fostering sustainable peace within communities. Their greatest strength lies not in top-down intervention, but in their grassroots down-top ability to embed peace building into everyday lives of citizens. By cultivating relationships, facilitating inclusive dialogue, nurturing leadership, and offering platforms for collective identity, social clubs act as crucial anchors for social cohesion and community resilience. This paper has tried and has demonstrated that social clubs contribute across multiple dimensions and strata: psychological, economic, cultural, social, and political. Their power stems from inclusivity, shared values, and voluntary engagement, which collectively nurture empathy, solidarity, and trust. The global and historical examples that have been reviewed, as well as their alignment with key peace-building frameworks, such as the 7 C's, reinforce their relevance in both conflict prevention and post-conflict recovery. Yet, their impact remains constrained when they are under-resourced, unrecognized by formal structures in the society, or when they are influenced by political agendas. For social clubs to fully realize their peace-building capacity efforts, intentional support must be provided through legal recognition, sustainable funding, training, and integration into national and international peace strategies. Reforms must therefore prioritize inclusivity rather than exclusivity. We must prioritize intergroup collaboration and long-term sustainable development. Finally, ultimately, social clubs are not merely social spaces to interact. They are incubators of peace, democracy, and community empowerment. When guided with strategic vision and supported by enabling environment, they can transform fragile coexistence into durable harmony that is sustainable to help build community progress, from vulnerability and division towards lasting stability and shared progress. I believe that WEPPA WANNO Pyramid Club of Nigeria has fitted very squarely into this definition of a successful social club. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you for that outstanding presentation. Your very enlightening and very engaging. And I'm sure that everyone here has taken this very, very valuable. So without much ado, we'll move into the presentation. And then I'll now call the teacher and call that to the Thank you once again.
Thank you, Professor. Since we do not know about ourselves, it is difficult to find a woman, particularly from the circle area, that is not an all-rounder. Wherever we find ourselves, we will choose to go to distinguish ourselves. We find ourselves and we succeed. And that is the average of people we see. Today, Professor Ozekhome, because if you go for dancing, and you tell Professor to come and dance here again, the ICC, but we will not get to that stage. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We want to quickly move now to the next stage of it. We will be requesting our moderator, Professor Marcel Loka, is going to moderate this section. We will be seated on this side, and the other four panelists will come out. We look for our brother Otobo Usman in the room. We are also inviting Sir Thomas the Shadow. Mr. John Atiti. So we request that Professor will help us moderate the session, so it will be moderated. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me join the call in appreciating the only
very thorough, very academic, yet focused on practice. And that means that you can relate even the theoretical underpinnings of faith to the practical bends that exist in our environment. As much as possible, we try to anchor this conversation on what you know of pyramid law and other of our laws. And of course, because I'm a teacher, I made a note here. I said, if I was supervising this student, I would say you are doing too much of literature. Now go to the empirical reviews. And then we began to also do the empirical requirement when we talk about laws. So much is in this paper that I'll add that we get copies. I'm sure it's all the platform so that we can thank you for teaching me how to work this, so that we can do justice. But I think of hello. I think for me, the very salient point of this paper is where he talks about the social benefits of social clubs. And he talks about social activism and the promotion of trust, skill development and base building, fostering crime reduction and mentoring. Then he went on to the 7 C's. The 7 C's actually encapsulate the essence of the talk. One, talking about connection. Then he talked about communication, he talked about compassion, he talked about commitment, he talked about competence, and then contributions and character. And then he also said something from Steve Covey's tradition. To begin with the end in mind. Where do you value this conversation? So you can begin with the end of it, but knowing that this is where you want to be headed. I do not want to repeat the lecture. I think at this point I've just passed the microphone to the panelists and then we can have a conversation. Thank you, gentlemen.
something right now we are fighting the war. And after this war, we are going to have proliferation of farmers in our communities. That is the major thing we need to begin to try and address. So I want to believe that addressing youth empowerment, enlightenment, and taking their mind away from people are some of the things we are doing as a club to further empower our community. Thank you.
The facts concerning the social cultural the party, the progress of various community with my information. The area I want to bring is social political achievement from the social club. One very important thing that drew the attention of the Ghanaian members of the Governing Club of Nigeria. Among the writers we discussed yesterday, when we were meeting, we realized that our big shots were not coming home. At our own stage, we said, if we eventually grow up to go out, how are we going to be electing ourselves to be coming home? That has to do with political achievement, where I want to dwell. Some few months ago, where we gathered very close to our church, we meet as friends. One of them came up and said they have opening for WEPPA people in the western government of Edo State. Before connected, it's part of our group. In fact, for many years, I have a contact. And at the end of the day, we were able to put into government almost the power in the current government. And that will draw our attention again to let people have the economy. So when we form these groups, the social club is a pressure group to achieve something for the community. Even as a social club member and a doctor, and I'm not the that's why we achieve the desired result politically. And among the services is the empowerment. I would like to give an example. When our top doctor in those days made a presentation, I think the moderator was there, made the government and his deputy. That's what we do. That's one development in our community. When we got the data in the Power Development Club in the way, we now said we should annex through social clubs to get the pressure group, to get the government to answer our request. That if you are a member of executive, you can sign out 25 billion. But an individual cannot afford to bring out 5 billion at a go to do a project. It's among what we will sustain us and the social club to provide for our community. So I'm advocating that it is obtainable in all areas in this world. Pressure grows to make the government, not only political parties. Pressure grows go even responsible. Nigeria is getting to that point. As among the last, among the 7 states of the nation, let us not just do down ourselves, oh, it's not a commission, we can bring out somebody that will make an impact. But we don't come out from a leader in their community, we wasn't a politician. Because the expert is professional, and he was a member of the group the old man belonged to. We now ask him to suggest somebody who can be a governor of Anambra as a captain
from the records, he said, I am suggesting this person. Give your second name, it's the same person. Give your third name, it's the same person. That's how that pressure group and that social group nominated. We can as well do more than that from the lecture we have even received this afternoon. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. I told my chairman because the chairman of the board of trustees of ESA's operation. Your speech was well important. I want to focus on two key issues. And conflict resolution. For most of you, you may not be aware when there was an issue between the politicians and it was social, so I did rather okay, settle that. That was very unfortunate. And that was when the leadership of actually the museum of most of my secretary, and program. And if that issue was not settled, it would affect the environment, affect security and collaboration. So that's not unfortunate. Also, talk about empowering communities. We need to go emphasize. I think most of the speakers have touched on already. I just want to also give a few examples of what I know that most of the people also have the study and leisure center. I don't know if it's social, but I know that most have been one of the functions which will be done by Senator Ali and USF. And I think today that system is available to help create sort of independent jobs. Also, the social care also demystify the most powerful issues in the world. If you look at all that, we're also scared to come. We're scared to come and do houses. Today we have mansions all over the world. Thanks to the social care. But I guess what we are doing is to promote unity and cooperation among all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, President, the guest speaker, Honorable Chief Professor Mike Ozekhome. Well, I just want to start by from this point. You know, Jesus Christ was asked by one young man, which is the greatest commandment. And the answer is that you should love your God, who is your creator. And the second commandment is like that one, love your neighbor as yourself. Now, if there's one thing we must not take out from here today, it's the 7 C's conflict resolution. Even if you have forgotten everything Prof said today, if you remember that he said something about 7 C's, go back to them. If you look at the entire aims and objectives of the globe, they all rank within that 7 C's I spoke about. And the most important being character. Prof commitment as the next most important one. If you have a character and you are still not committed, things will still not work. And if you look at the various functions of clubs in our community, what do? Basically, they are there for socialization. That's the first one. There are a lot of people I hear about every time. I've never met them. I've been able to meet them at this gathering. And I'm sure there are some people who have not seen some of us this side. I mean, you'll be hearing about it. But when you come together like this, we're able to socialize. And that's what Prof was talking about promotion of self-esteem in terms of building up the functions of social media. Then look at the issue of mutual aid. How do we assist each other? Of course, we're already doing that. In terms of people job openings, which my brother said there a while ago, I'm sure if we don't come together like that, we will not do. I remember Dr. Igibade said once, he said even the clerk, even the messenger, they give you information that will lead to people getting a job in our organization. Just because if job to the discussion, we need people here and there. He's able to give it to, and that's one of the aims of club. What about the issue of cooperating now? We're talking about people coming together, put money together to be able to assist each other. And that is why it's important. If you are going from the cooperative of any club, not only pyramid now, you remember that you have to pay back so that you can advance the same objective for other members of the society. You have seen that government alone cannot even do much, not even can do everything. They cannot do much. We have seen the area of security. Happily, one of our past presidents, Ozekhome, is the coordinator of the WEPPA WANNO initiative. And I chair of the committee there, and I know what we have done. We have a very to do what he said. That is what clubs can do in any society. Just imagine if we were waiting for the state government, the federal government, we would have had two community in the baby, or what's happening in the plateau. So if you look at the 7 Cs, what role do you have as a member of this club? The first thing is that be very, very committed. How have you committed when it comes to payment of dues? Yesterday we discussed the vitals. If you pay dues, you'll be able to do more than even what we are doing today. We're able to do scholarship, we're able to help the vulnerable community. Every Christmas, we do what we call food sharing of the most vulnerable community. I'm sure most of you have been looking at the platform for the schools. We'll be able to do some kind of assistance, provision of desks and the rest. So the more you pay dues, the more we're able to do. That's the commitment. Now, in terms of character formation, yes, I've heard that there is a school for your training. But if you look at one thing, let's take a very good example. This is some native doctors who say they can make a chance for you to be very rich. Look at their family, look at their children. Look at themselves. I don't know what I'm rich. You are able to, if a teacher is only to make himself. So let's begin to educate our own brothers, our kids back in look. There is no easy way to make money or become wealthy or rich. You just have to follow the grind. You have to work very hard. You have to pay a lot. I work for 5 years every day. You go to work. I've worked for over 30 years in my life. If I still wake up at 5 a.m. every day, I can't see how somebody will just sit down to get 2 phones after sending me text messages. And then you're working. It means that they are working for you. So we have to educate them to learn how to work very hard. And that will help. So again, I want to comment to you the 7 C's that we are discussing today. They will really be like guiding rails for preparing and organized society. Thank you, God bless you.
Our panelists. Just before they go back to take their seats, we will take a few questions and perhaps comments. And then, I believe that at that point, Mr. President will permit us to plan our lunch. But let me draw our attention to something in the topic that the speaker spoke about. The role of social clubs in maintaining sustainable peace and communities. In all of this conversation, we seem to have left out that the crucial mantra in the conversation that we have had. So as we ask your question, please focus your mind also on that, so that we can have a more enriching response section. The MC took 2 today. But I want to take liberties. It are not happening at the front. 3 here, so that we can have more of a conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. But please, the 3 are questions. We are no longer going into presentation again. Direct to question to the discussion you have had. Anything outside question, please, I will be requested to get the microphone so that we can work with our time. Thank you. So 3 on this side and 3 on this side. And in this instance, you can harmonize on the table. You can have a conversation on the table and just get a question out of the table, please. Rather than having 2 persons from one table, please. So 3 on this side and 3 on this side.
Questions?
So let me refine and redefine and reorganize the corporate action. So you can make comments alongside your thought about it, but please, your comments should not now be another lecture. Let us go directly to comments that guide us and also strengthen our community. Thank you.
It's just like 1 minute. 1 minute, so we can act fast.
Members of the Parliament of Nigeria, now is a question and a comment on society of peace. A few days ago, as we continue to rely every day, maintain electricity and better in one approach to this sustainable peace. And the approach was from the Italian approach that you have to model to organize a group across traditional rulers, organize a group across farmers and elders, organize a group across stakeholders, others. That's the point. Now, as a social group, can we actually voluntarily with discipline in this approach? Any other question?
Yeah, there's one.
President and the Speaker who did an excellent job. Well, generally from what people have been commenting, we've lost morals. The growing generation lost morals. Think about the school of Yahoo. But I think it starts from the parents and religious again. It deviated from what they are supposed to be telling us. That's one. And how can we now come in to bring to educate people more, or to tell them or educate our upcoming ones on morals of having to go through the right extra to make wealth? Because this is like a model. You can't get any youth who is ready to work anymore. You go to the fuel stations, to market, it's the elderly ones who dispense. You don't work because they say, okay, how much are you going to pay me? 20,000 when I want my mate who is just 20, driving a Benz. So what can we do to inculcate this morals back? Because there's no consequences for bad behavior anymore. At all, no consequences. So what can the club do? And how can we help to come in this gap?
So the last one on this side.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and special guest. I think following what Mr. Ini had just said, I have been of the opinion that apart from empowerment programs we have, which are not really have the desired result among the youth, is there any way the clubs can synergize so that we look at what kind of venture can we set up in the communities to make sure that people are empowered, youth and women, that there will be economic revolution within among them, so that this people not having anything and they go into areas that are negative to sustain. We have the land there, we have everything. We have just everything going for us. How can we consider what we do? There are cashews there, the industry, small micro industry that people can be using, and that was what people don't forget we have that's one problem. There are other many resources we have. What can we do? This thing can be a general conference. Can we make it as a conference of all the political, all the clubs, so that we just do that as a general conference of all of it? Maybe two issues change the scenario, because I think that we power no
So no question from this side. Behind the wall.
Areas of the opinion, guests, speaker. I want to ask a question. Recently, I began to understand the tax that some of us face by virtue of wearing the shoes that were given to us to wear. And I want to ask this simple question to my elders here and my fellow club members.
Quiet.
Everything we're talking about is centered around peace. If we have peace, the economy will thrive. If we have peace, we will love the neighbors we serve. If we have peace, there will be industrialization. Investors want to come over. Please, is it possible for us to have a peace summit? Not because of that, some people withhold from doing as much as they would have done. MSC Ayomoni, president of UZANU, is single-handedly building structures for UZANU now, which I know will cost hundreds of millions. But guess what? Shockingly, one member of the club in our discussion one day, the whole package take it up on himself. Not the economy club, the more marking or marking imagine that. Someone has decided to move his personal sweat, money he made by himself, legitimately. He provides sweat to help out, rather than see the cup as half full. By being an optimist, such a person becomes a pessimist, seeing the cup as half empty. That negativity is not good for us. Pull him down. Mama Zakari, Mama Kenya, who live in Opa, you will show Opa, shows a mania, and there who gives a man. Mama Zia, Mama Zia, Mama Kenya, we pull it. Again, the normal way, the economic way. Again, the normal way, you find that something that ought to have been used as strength is not being used negatively as a division. That's where the Hebrews differ from us and the Yorubas. And this is what we are going to have to build. They help each other. The woman will take you as an apprentice. You will serve faithful for 5 to 10 years. Then he will set you up and make sure you grow. But I don't know, the young ones who will mentor. But the mentors maybe 6 months. Such does not make us grow. We are getting too Republican as an ethnic group. No matter government, no matter about you. It's not necessary because God has created us differently.
those different abilities. The ability of Jacobo, who spoke to us about some months ago or 2 months ago, when he was talking so much about financial banking matters. I can't be him. It's not possible. I can't be a Jacobo now. It's not possible. I can't be a Mashogi. I can't do them. I can't be a worker or two. I'm a practicing lawyer in God. I can't, if I go to a bank to go and become their chief legal counsel, and they fail the first litmus test, because that is not my area of competence. I can't be the town crier or no couple, no good in my. Each one is time, each one is function. Once we realize that everyone has his capacity, has his strength, core competence, then one has a goal to and I think we should get this point very clear so that you can take this message home and tell your people. What are you planning to Korea? What are you planning to Korea? Na gossip, the planning to Korea. Why does he want to synergize? When you want broomstick, you can easily break it. You can easily break the broomstick. Or when you put many broomsticks into a bunch, it becomes hard to break. Oh, Mati, no go, Usu Tatuya. But you put over Mati Goyafi. Let us see ourselves as brothers, but from different wombs. Love, the greatest attribute of man. We must contribute it for each other. We must have it towards each other. Maybe you're not going to make I want to go, you're not going to go and change it. You're not going to go and you know what he was on? You know what you want to do? Who's there? Bad you. I don't want to. If you don't have the car, I'm really shit now. And I didn't want it for me, or 2 shares. I didn't know that when they were preparing my 2 suits to come here, the housekeeper forgot to put shares. All I did last night was to call the Chief Cruising Arena to tell him to help me get 2 shares. And today, they brought 2 shares for me. I chose this one. If Friday Inagwe was not in that position, if Omo Tosiana was a Bob, I'm a Bob, will you be able to do that for me? I'm asking God, can we do that? No. We can do it. So it is when the soil is manured that plants grow well. So I want therefore to say, in answer to all these questions, that there is a need for our clubs to come together. UZANU club, WEPPA WANNO pyramid, INSECURITY, Way Forward, Dynamic Forum. There is a need for all these clubs, including INAGE, social club, to come together and form again another single unit. I don't know what to call the umbrella clubs. I know that the presidents of the club do have a meeting. I call it an informal meeting because they do not have a name for it. In the human rights struggle in the 80s and 90s, when we discovered that the single individual human rights bodies do not do the work well, we didn't have the capacity individually. We decided to team up together. I co-founded the Civil Liberties Organization, CLO, the first human rights body ever in Nigeria.
items. If any is yours, install the proof of ownership. A Samsung, an iPhone earpiece, charger that was an extra charger that was found on the event yesterday. So when it's yours, install the proof of ownership.
You record this thing. No, carry phone now, but I'm recording this thing. Okay. Those are no mates of that one, I think that one should. How very much. Start.
Okay. So I can quickly move for lunch. Each copy of this, the cost price of this book, the cost price is 5,000. But any amount you can use to buy additional copies of our gift to people, you do. Professor has taken 10 copies for 100,000. So I'm going to take 10 copies for 100,000. The supply chief is taking 10 copies for 100,000. Our member of House of Assembly here is taking 10 copies for 100,000. The president is taking 10 copies for 100,000. The past president, so the members of this item, they will take 10 copies each. So, we are not buying this on thing, we are not buying on this side. So you buy it yourself and for other people. And the spirit has led me to this place. Yes, we always the spirit. What applies to that place is applicable to this. So the message says the message here. So we have 100,000.
I'm in the spirit. I'm not telling us to go to this place. Take care of yourself. I'm not going to meet you. So let's have that soup that has been cooked. While we are waiting for the soup to be properly cooked, may I therefore invite we move first for the Lord, followed by this table, we move for the Lord. This table we move. That other table will move. The next one will move. This will move. This table will move. This goes. The other one goes. This goes. And takes that table and return to this place. So please, have our team. Number 1, 2, 3. It's just focus on the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So you may all move to
We said on the floor, we don't do it yours. Huh? We said on the floor, we don't do it yours. No. Okay.